Welcome to Rep America. My name is Medi, and we are about to get started here. It is a beautiful Tuesday night, and just going to get a few things lined up before we get going. Let's hit play on
J.B.
this.
Pritzker said, what difference does it make? It took him 4 days, but Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is finally getting around to commenting on the horrific murder of college student Sheridan Gorman, who was killed by an illegal immigrant from Venezuela, led in the country by Joe Biden. And the governor responding in the most predictable way, pinning the blame on President Trump.
I agree, there have been real failures. Those failures, of course, extend beyond the borders of Illinois. They're national failures, a failure to have comprehensive immigration reform, a failure of the president to follow.
From bordering states.
This guy's going to drive me nuts right now. Let's see what he has to say. Hold on one second. Let me get the sound up on this. 1 second here. Where is our sound?
Responding in the most predictable way, pinning the blame on President Trump.
I agree, there have been real failures. Those failures, of course, extend beyond the borders of Illinois. They're national failures, a failure to have comprehensive immigration reform, a failure of the president to follow his own edict to go after the worst of the worst. It is the job of the federal government to go after immigration enforcement, and it is the job of our local and state law enforcement to prosecute or to catch violent criminals and prosecute them.
Yes, but where's the intersection? And JB's partner in crime, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, refusing to admit his liberal policies had anything to do with Gorman's death.
The suspect would not be in the city, would not be in the country, but for your policies. Will you take this opportunity to apologize?
Well, again, I believe that we're all grieving the loss of Sheridan and other folks who have lost their lives because of senseless violence. And let's just be very clear, between the Safety Act and the Welcoming City Ordinance. The Welcoming City Ordinance was passed 40 years ago by the first black mayor in the history of Chicago. You know what the bigger threat to our public safety? It's illegal weapons that are being trafficked from bordering states that voted for Donald Trump.
Wow.
So which hoax?
Wow. It's Trump. Everything is Trump's fault. Everything is Trump's fault. Wow. Okay, let's go back. So Pritzker blames on immigration reform. We don't have good immigration reform. Let's go back 1 second. Hold on a second here. Look what was his answer? Because we lost a life due to an illegal immigrant, and this was his answer.
Who was killed by an illegal immigrant from Venezuela, led in the country by Joe Biden. And the governor responding in the most predictable way, pinning the blame on President Trump.
I agree, there have been real failures. Those failures, of course, extend beyond the borders of Illinois. They're national failures, a failure to have comprehensive immigration reform, a failure of the president to follow his own edict to go after the worst of the worst. It is the job of the federal government to go after.
So the governor of Illinois is putting the blame on the federal government, immigration reform, and all that kind of stuff when he has set up a sanctuary state so he can funnel all the illegal immigrants right into his state and commit the crimes they just committed. And when they do it, he blames it on everyone else but himself. Here we go.
Immigration enforcement, and it is the job of our local and state law enforcement to prosecute or to catch violent criminals and prosecute them.
Yes, but where's the intersection? And JB's partner in crime, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, refusing to admit his liberal policies.
Here we go with the mayor, Johnson, bro. Here we go. Oh, my God.
He's had anything to do with Gorman's death.
The suspect would not be in the city, would not be in the country, but for your policies. Will you take this opportunity to apologize?
Well, again, I believe that we're all grieving the loss of Sheridan and other folks who have lost their lives because of senseless violence. And let's just be very clear, between the Safety Act and the Welcoming City Ordinance. The Welcoming City Ordinance was passed 40 years ago by the first black mayor in the history of Chicago. You know what the bigger threat to our public safety? It's illegal weapons that are being trafficked from bordering states that voted for Donald Trump.
Wow. So they have sanctuary city state, right? Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, illegal immigrant commits a crime, in this case, the worst crime ever. An illegal immigrant kills a young woman, and they're blaming the immigration policies of which, why won't he apologize? That's exactly what I'm looking at chat right here, by the way. I'm not staring down into your eyes. Why won't he? They won't apologize, but they're going to pass blame. They're going to point fingers at everyone else but themselves, and that's what happens. This is what makes you crazy. And then the guy he says we should be worried about the guns that are coming in from the other states around us that are voting for Donald Trump. All they do is point at Trump. Trump is bad. Orange man bad. That's all they do.
So which hoax would you like to tackle, Jesse?
I think Chicago is known for its massive immigrant population. Chicago is responsible for the border. Chicago is responsible for not allowing ICE to go in there and get rid of the illegal immigrants that are in their city and their state. That's the problem. That's why they say the illegal immigrants wouldn't be there if it wasn't for them and their policies.
The one from the governor or the one from the mayor?
Mm-hmm. You have a thing on your show where you pretend to be a Democrat or vice versa. So this is easy. I'm not a Democrat, but I could be a Democrat politician and say, I am so sorry and saddened by this tragic loss of life. This never should have happened. The border should have been more secure over the last couple of years. And that is something we need to continue to do as a party to make sure we can secure the border, but also give people a pathway to citizenship. You say all that. I say I've called the family.
So there it is. Let me see if it's on the screen for you. You can see that. Yeah, that's the girl up top that tragically lost her life at the hands of the person right beneath her, the illegal immigrant that Chicago and Illinois wants to try, that has been trying so hard to funnel into their city and state.
I've expressed my condolences. We want to make sure every life matters here in the city of Chicago. I didn't even think about that. I just came up with that as I was just trying to be intelligent on television. I mean, it's just like, they should be better at politicians than I should be playing a fake politician on television. I can't believe they blamed Republicans for an illegal alien who they let into the country, then they let out of jail in their city for shooting an innocent person. This is why no one takes them seriously, and this is why everyone's leaving blue states to go to red states, and everybody thinks that party is a joke. And I say that with respect.
Yep. I got someone in the chat. I don't even know what the name is. XXXKKK something here. So what happens is, I know you're trying to be funny or whatever the case is. What's happening is, when you create sanctuary cities, states and cities, where do illegals want to go to? To those places, right? If you were illegal and you knew that Texas would not treat you fair, not treat you, and would not allow you to take advantage of the government and to stay there illegally, but Chicago will allow you to stay there illegally, which would you rather go to? Chicago, the sanctuary city. That's the point. It's not that Chicago is letting them cross the border. No, they cross the border and they rush into sanctuary cities. New York, Chicago, LA. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure that out, bro.
Respect.
All right. Well, I think we do have to offer some condolences and respect to these families. You know, we look at Sheridan Gorman's family. We also look at Stephanie Minter.
Explain the illegals in Texas. There are illegals in Texas. There's illegals around the whole country, unfortunately. But Texas is not creating a sanctuary city or state just like Chicago, Illinois. They're not exacerbating the situation. They're making it easier. They're allowing ICE to go in there and get their job done. And that's why if there are illegals, they're less likely to be in those states. Yeah.
She was the woman
What's
who
up,
was
Jennifer?
brutally killed knifed to death by an illegal migrant from Sierra Leone with a massive rap sheet. And her mother, Cheryl, said she was talking to Abigail Spanberger, the governor of Virginia, where she was killed. Get it together, people. Start protecting your citizens. You can understand her rage, but how many of these stories do we have to hear?
Well, that man in Virginia had 30 plus arrests, and the police wrote to the prosecutor about the guy, and they said, you have all the tools you need to avoid releasing him. And Steve Descano is the district attorney, and he's like, nah, let him out. And the people of this country deserve a lot better from their government. It is shocking that the 41-year-old mother died, that the 18-year-old died, that we have Lake and Ryan. We could go down the list. There's a list of these. To me, if you're Abigail Spanberger, the governor of Virginia.
What's up, Ange? What was he says? What's the other one here? So they're not a sanctuary city or state, yet they have more illegals. Yeah, bro, because they're on the border. Hello.
You're the mayor or the governor of Illinois, mayor of Chicago, Illinois governor. Your job is hard. Why not make it easier and work with ICE to remove the criminals and avoid these situations? I would want that. I would say, what can I cross off my to-do list? If I could cross off those things and it's easy and it's legal and everybody in the aftermath, they agree that they shouldn't be there, but they do nothing to prevent it in the first place.
Yes, and
these are easy fixes. If you're a mayor, if you're a governor, these are easy fixes. Very simple things to cross off of your list. Boom. Less illegal immigrants, less crime, less all kinds of things, less violence. These are simple things. These are easy numbers to fix in your cities and states. They won't do it. Why? Because they're far left fringe Democrats. They've lost it. They actually don't know how to think of any policy. It's just orange man bad. That's all they know. They forgot how to, I don't even know if they knew how, but they forgot or didn't know how to do the right thing, enforce or create policies, come up with ideas. They don't know how to do it.
there could be something. I mean, there could be a path of moderation, but they just have to virtue signal by talking about their sanctuary states and their sanctuary cities. But isn't there a way? I mean, J.B. Pritzker basically admitted that the federal government is in charge of immigration prosecution and the local government is responsible for charging and detaining. But isn't there a better way of working together that seems a little less heartless than these reactions?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brandon Johnson's reaction was far worse than J.B. Pritzker's. I mean, he actually seemed like he was sad about what had happened, and Brandon Johnson was on the defensive. And there's, I think, a big opportunity at this particular moment. Like, both sides, certainly at the extremes, need to have a recalibration of their immigration policy. So obviously what's going on in blue cities is unacceptable. We had a whole election that was essentially about that. I mean, Donald Trump ran up the numbers in deep blue areas because people were saying that blue governance was not delivering. Then in the
Wow, even your own Democrat friend right here is telling you to your face while she's wearing a baby blue little suit she's got on too, which is fantastic. Even she agrees. What's up, man? Here down low, have migraine all day. Majority illegals hide in blue cities. Houston might as well be a type of yes, absolutely. It's all same talk. This is what she said is beautiful. It's actually very true. This is why Donald Trump won, because people were saying, hey, we want to fix these problems. And then you had Biden come out and say, wait a minute, there is no problems. You guys don't know what's going on. Let me tell you, there's no problem in your city. And they're like, well, no, actually, we want this thing fixed. We'll vote for you if you fix it, Joe Biden. He said, nah, there's no problems. There's no border problem. There's no immigration problem. There's no economic problem. Your money's fine. You have enough money. And they're like, actually, no, just say that you'll do these things. Even if you won't do them, just act like you'll do it. We'll still vote for you. And they still wouldn't do it. And then Kamala Harris came right after him and goes, I won't change a thing. And they wonder why they lost. And now, a year into Donald Trump's presidency, and they're dealing with all these problems, and they're blaming it on Trump. And he went there to fix it. He went there to do what the people voted him to come and do, We voted for him to do this. The people in your own blue cities and states voted for Trump to come in and do these things because you didn't say you'll do it. So they voted for him, so he'll do it. That's why he won the popular vote. That's why he won so many cities, so many states. The Electoral College. That's why he won all the swing states. Because everyone said, dude, you got these guys on the left are not going to do it. Then if Trump says he's going to do it, we know Trump will do what he says. So we'll vote for him. They voted for him. Now he came. He's doing what he says he was going to do. And then you don't let him do it. They want to kick ICE out. They're like, nah, screw it. Even though you got the votes and even though people voted for you and even though you won the popular vote, even though you got all these swing states, nah, we still, you know what? We're going to go fight you to the very end and not give you what the people want you to do. Unbelievable. What's up, Nurse Terry? Even though everyone voted for you to do this, we're still going to not let you do it. Crazy, bro. These people are nuts. Nuts. They could have won this last election so easily. It was in the bag. It was done, bro. Kamala Harris was a female. She was mixed race. She wanted transgender. She wanted surgeries for men in prisons so they can go from the male prison to the women's prisons, female prisons. She was advocate. She gave you all. All she had to do was say, you know what? I'll do what you say. I'll fix these things. I'll fix the border. I'll fix economy. She came out and said, I'll do nothing. I won't change a thing. I won't do anything different.
First year of the Trump administration, we had immigration enforcement, which was also not acceptable to the American public. I was reading Greg Bovino's big exit interview with the New York Times today, where he's talking about he had plans to deport 100 million people, et cetera. That obviously is on the other side of it. And now we have Tom Homan, who he thinks is an embarrassing capitulator and is someone that has worked for Democratic presidents as well. So maybe there'll be something we could get down. I really
talking about Democratic presidents, and that's what you guys just said in the chat. What'd you say in the chat? It said Newsom running for office and he's close to winning like Biden was. Dude, that's the Newsom. Can you believe Newsom? Nick Shirley comes my state, he's in California, comes out here, is finding the fraud, finding where people are taking taxpayer money, defrauding the American taxpayers, California taxpayers. What does Newsom do? Newsom goes after him. Newsom goes after the guy finding the fraud as opposed to the guys committing the fraud. This is the guy you guys want as president. This is Newsom. This is your guy. This is your guy. I'm going to go after the guy finding the fraud, not the guy taking the money. Your budget for California is double. And you increase taxes on everyone in California to the point where you lost all the moneymakers and now you're screwed. If California was a business, it'd be bankrupt. It would be filing for bankruptcy right now. It would be dissolved. It would be gone with the wind. And that's the guy you want for president? Wow. I don't want him for street sweep. What's up, guys, from Instagram? We just went live on Instagram not too long ago. This guy, the Persian Sabra says, Newscum bemire, figuratively. Nah, واقعا bemire, bro. Newsom دهن ما رو گایید, bro. Newsom دهن هممون رو گایید. He sucks, bro. This guy destroyed California. Now you guys want him to come destroy our country. Insane.
I know this rarely works out, but it does feel like a time where the two sides could figure out something in a bipartisan fashion, and that certainly the left, for running these blue cities, need to move a little bit closer to what Tom Homan wants you to do, and that he needs to continue to run immigration enforcement in a way that jives more with where the American public is.
Right.
Exactly. Immigration, you need policies on immigration that jive more with what the public wants. Majority of people want to fix our immigration system. Majority of the people want what Donald Trump said he's going to do if we voted for him, and now he's doing it. Let him do his job, man. This person, Endic, says Newsom is connected to the fraud, so he lies about Nick Shirley's finding in just a few months. Nick Shirley finds more every day. Exactly, buddy. Exactly. Sean, half of me is. Oh, Sean, half of me is. Okay, gotcha.
I think we live at a time where just pointing out the obvious is construed as racist. And if you know, it's happening here. It happened in England. Why do they have all those rape gangs? The police didn't want to prosecute because that would appear to be racist. This is what's happening here with the illegal thing. Think about, why are we calling attention to this particular thing? And then Pritzker then says that's being political because we're calling attention to it. Because they didn't listen. They didn't listen when we were talking about the border or the dangers of sanctuary cities. So now we're in a situation where there's all this chaos that Trump is being blamed for as he tries to clean it up. If they had only listened, instead of thinking like, you know what, you're just being a racist or a xenophobe because you feel unsafe. We were told that if we felt unsafe, that if we crossed the street, we were the bad guy, and that wrong place, wrong time if your daughter didn't cross the street and she's dead. Wrong place, wrong time. Because there are all these imaginary victims that I believe a lot of Democrats create to get the spotlight off the real victims, illegals, the incarceral. They're in prison. We used to call them inmates, now incarceral, and they get released, and they're through the system, and they're the victims. And the illegals, aren't they victims too? That way, you don't think about their victims. There are real victims. They did this with trans suicidal ideation. Forget the victims. Now you're seeing mugshots of all these unhinged trans people and the violence that they have unleashed in various communities. So the Dems create imaginary victims because the real victims are on their watch. Be sure to.
I got a couple videos here that I want to go through. I got one from today where they went through and talked about this Jack Smith, where they spied on Republicans. Yeah, this is a good video. There's a couple good ones here. We also got our favorite Mr. Kennedy, the one and only. Someone here asked me a question on the live chat. They said here, so this is on Instagram. They said, is Trump really talking to the mullahs? That's to be confirmed, to be determined. He says he is. The mullahs say he's not. I believe Trump over the mullahs. And I don't know who he's talking to be honest, but I would say that what you've seen in my last video is the reality. I don't think we're going to be done. Here's the thing. Here's what I said before, and hear me out on this. It's no longer up to Trump what happens with the government of Iran. Trump already did the hardest part. He already was the president with the biggest balls, the biggest guts. He did what no other president did, and he confronted them. He called their bluff. They were playing poker the whole time, and every other president put their tail between their legs. Trump called their bluff, and he went and hit them head on. And as a result of that, he crippled them. By the way, Israel, Netanyahu, and Trump both had the balls to do it. And by the way, when they asked for help, nobody else jumped in. Everyone else, all the other countries should have been helping, and they did not. We're going to remember that. But as Americans, we're going to remember when England and some of these other countries didn't jump in and help us, when all we did all the time throughout history was help them. Anyway, also, because of what's been happening for the last 50 years, other countries, other world leaders should have done this. Not just American presidents who put their tail between their legs and did nothing about it, like Obama, who gave them billions of dollars, or $500 to $1 billion, 500 million plus. Other world leaders should have done something about it. They never did it. Trump did it, but now it's not up to him. Trump did the hardest part. He did it. He crippled them. He went in there, struck them. He crushed them. No more Navy, no more military. All that stuff is done. But now, check this out. This is the big part. Now, the Islamic regime of Iran is so weakened that the people of Iran, the actual people on the ground, have come together, assembled, and they've created what is now the Iranian, it's called the Iranian Immortal Guard, okay? And they call it Guard the Javidan, okay? So they are now, the people on the ground, Iranians themselves in the country, in Iran, have assembled. They are now the Iranian Immortal Guard, and they are now fighting back. I know they have help, from Mossad or, IDF, Israel, probably some help from CIA or from America. But even if Trump, he won't do this, but even let's just say hypothetically in some fantasy land that the lefties dream of because they want Trump to fail so bad. Even if Trump said, you know what, no, I'm going to pull out prematurely. I already did whatever damage, now I'm out. Because now Democrats told me to come out, so I'm going to listen to Democrats and I'm going to come out, which he won't. Even if he did that, the guard, the immortal guard, the Iran's immortal guard now in the country is doing what they have been wanting to do for themselves, to free themselves from this Islamic regime for 50 years. They're doing it. So it's no longer, at this point, it's not up to Trump anymore what happens with the government. For everyone that keeps asking me, and it's a great question, and I'm glad you're asking it. This is a very, very, very good question. It's a very important question. Are the mullahs going to stay? Are the Islamic clerics going to stay? Are the ayatollahs, these, these supreme leaders, are they going to stay? No. Answer is no. They're gone. They're going to be gone. We already eliminated 90% of the whole hierarchy is done. Now Israel and America are still doing their thing. They have gone in actually and removed so many of the ground forces that they're even afraid to go out in the open. So the military of Iran, the Islamic regime, the Islamic Republic regime, government, those people, the military that are on the ground doing checkpoints and all that kind of stuff, terrorizing people, violating people, they are hiding now. They're not out in the open doing checkpoints. They're going under bridges and stuff like that. And as of right now, the Immortal Guard, Iran's Immortal Guard, is growing, and they're slowly taking everyone out. All of those evil members of the Islamic regime, they're all getting eliminated one by one. Let's get to a couple of these chats. One person, I fear dormant cell all over the world. No, I don't fear that. Nah, bro. Listen, once the leader is gone, which is already gone, once everything's gone, dude, they're first of all, they're not getting paid. Second of all, they realize what they were doing and who they're working for is a joke, and it's gone. It's over, dude. It's over. It's over. I'm from Pakistan and I love America. Glad to hear that. A lot of the people that come onto my stream from Pakistan hate America, hate Western civilization, love Islam, and want the Islamic regime to keep prospering because that's their sugar daddy. So that's an interesting one. Let's keep going. What else we got here? I miss someone going too far. Let me know. If I miss someone, okay, we'll do, man. Thank you. Yeah, just let him talk shit. I'm good. Exactly, Ange. Exactly. Let's see what someone was talking shit. They're dropping like flies. Yep, they are. Sean may be on the wrong channel. Oh, is someone on the wrong channel? Let me see. I got two streams. Beautiful Bill was on the other channel. All right, let's see. Sean swallows his long. What? You are misinformed. Praying for the people. Okay. All right. So I got through some of them. Let's keep going now. I got to figure out, Xerxes is, yes, sir. I agree with Xerxes in Instagram. I'm not going to repost what he put, but yes, I do agree. Oh, so good, bro. Has anyone seen the new Ayatollah? Bro, there is no Ayatollah. They're gone, bro. They're history. They're absolutely gone. And they don't want to come out. Imagine right now coming up and say, hi, I'm the new supreme leader. Can you imagine that? Hi, I'm the new Ayatollah. I'm the new supreme leader. That's instantly you're gone. Right away, you're out. Wakatola. Exactly. Exactly. So I got a couple videos here that I want to put up. Actually, now that we're on this topic, let me play this because this is Tusi talking about what I was just talking about.
TV, this is your global news channel. I'm Maya Tusi, and the IRGC Basij members have now abandoned their checkpoint on the streets of Tehran. Saudi Arabia, with the support of the UAE, are now planning to launch an attack against the Islamic Republic in Iran, and Pentagon are now also going to be deploying roughly 3,000 army soldiers towards the Middle East. There is going to be some imminent update as well, which we're going to bring you guys in the next few minutes, because I think there's been yet another elimination in Iran. But we also, of course, we're going to show you guys the latest videos that we are receiving from the conflict in the Middle East. The Islamic Republic launched a major attack on Jordan earlier on. We also had attacks in Lebanon and basically every country. They've been trying to hit the U.S. embassies and also some of the bases, but they ended up hitting residential areas because they're very good at aiming, the IRGC, right? We also have a big announcement.
What is this? Koskoli dige? Ki koskole?
Before we begin with the latest videos, thanks to our 2C store team, we have now launched a new collection. Well, actually, the collection is already there. Addition to our Iran collection. Yes, popular demand. Finally, make Iran great again. On the streets of Tehran, saying that the checkpoints are now empty, most of them. The
Koset khole mage. فکر کردی کی هستم؟ بیا ببین چیکار میکنم, bro. Come on, let's go.
Basij members have gone into hiding. Let's go to the first video.
نگاه کنید دیسپوزیسی خالیه, هیچ سرکوبگری نیست. این قوای سرکوب از ترس پهپاد موشک رفتن تو سوراخ موشاشون قایم شدن تا از هوا بهشون نزنن.
So he's basically, you can probably just read the caption there, but you could see what he's saying. Basically, the military forces are no longer out in the open; they're just hiding out.
اونا که با اسلحه وایساده بودن جلوی مردم بیگناه همه رو میکشتن, حالا مثل موش ترسیدن و در رفتن. دیگه چیزی نمونده که ایران رو آزاد کنیم.
Yep, it's basically almost over, especially after what President Trump did yesterday when he was going around saying, yeah, we're talking to someone in Iran, and everyone was like, who's he talking to? Even people inside the regime were started pointing each other and blaming each other. And then the IRGC leadership, at this point, the IRGC leadership is a faceless leadership because nobody actually knows who's calling the shots. So it's a group of people at the top who have
no, Teams is talking shit. He's trying to step, bro. You don't know. It's the wrong guy, bro. Wrong guy.
recently been promoted by themselves, and they're calling the shots. So they decided, well, we're going to have to take control of these so-called talks. And these are surrender talks, basically. But the Islamic Republic
خودت حواست باشه. من دهنتو میگم, bro. You're talking to the wrong guy, bro.
are refusing to surrender. So they've sent a whole list of demands, which we mentioned last night.
Right.
One of them was the Americans should abandon the Middle East, leave the bases. And like, yeah, that's not going to happen, darling. You can.
Here, I'm going to put it on so you guys can see it. Look. So you guys on Instagram, I know there's Iranians on Instagram can see that. Look at what look at the kind of stuff I get from losers, bro. Look at that. These are losers. These are what you call bi pedar madar, right there. Bi pedar madar kun nashur. Yeah.
Can try. They also wanted reparations like Black Lives Matter. Also a terrible idea. But yeah, these talks are not going to get anywhere. So let's let them have fun. Mossad, on the other hand, have thanked the Iranian people who have been collaborating with the intelligence agency in Israel. They once again posted this video saying, you send us the locations of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and we will hit them. And of course, that continues to happen. A lot of intel is coming in from ordinary Iranians who have been in touch with Mossad to help them find the location. That's one of the hits that they did recently. They have been hitting them left, right, and center across the cities in Iran, even though a lot of them are now using tunnels and bridges, under the bridges as their temporary bases. They're also sleeping in tents and cardboard boxes, which is kind of ironic considering their supreme leader is also cardboard. But they're still not safe because the drones are identifying them. And also, there is another threat that doesn't come from Israel. It comes from the Immortal Guard in Iran, the People's Army, who are hunting down the IRGC members whenever they can, in the middle of the night, when it's quiet, when it's dark. They go and target these guys and take them down. So that continues to happen as well. Let's go to Narmak in Tehran, as we had, yes, another targeted attack by the IDF. A little bit.
Oh, I saw what he said. He said, where do you want to meet? Asking me, he wants to meet. The wrong guy, bro. من کجا؟ من خونه ننتم. دارم ننتو میکنم الان. بیا.
Blurry, but you can see
ننت این زیره دارم میکنمش.
The building has been relatively destroyed. So in Narmak and northern areas of Tehran, we.
All right, so you got the gist of that. America and Israel are still taking out all the Basij soldiers that are on the ground, which are like the military that's left on the ground, and we're still going through it. So we're eliminating one by one, and then now, as you guys know, we have the Immortal Guard, Iran's Immortal Guard. They're working now together. They've assembled and they're out there. And they're going after them too. So it's not a good day to be an Islamic regime member, and it's not going to be a good week. I think this is all going to fall down pretty quickly here. So let's go back to some American. I think it's going to be like another week max, maybe less. Let's go back here.
Stop punching down.
Oh, we need a little bit of sound here. Hold on. There we go.
So Democrats have a new strategy to win back voters, good-looking dudes. Because apparently these guys weren't hot enough. A zombie left-wing website known as The Bulwark suggests Dems could win more if they just ran hotter candidates, which is an admission that the current crop is about as appealing as a kissing booth cold sore. They said that, yes, Dems...
Stop it, you guys. You're making me blush over here.
Need to shed litmus tests, but they also would benefit from simply having more thirst traps on the ticket, more candidates who can make voters swoon. You mean like Gavin? Well, it is true he made Californians hot and bothered when he let their homes burn.
Ooh.
But even a Biden official says it's easier to elect hot people. America's a superficial nation, and we want our politicians to be hot, to look good. That's just science. Oh, so now they're okay with science. After claiming that men could be women by ordering a wig off Amazon and stealing pantyhose off a clothesline. Like I say, fool me once. And it is funny that a Biden official is saying politicians should be hot when when's the last time Joe's temperature was north of 40 degrees? He had COVID 15 times and the virus died of frostbite. So voters want good looks. Then who are these hot candidates they mentioned? Maybe a John Ossoff?
Maybe a John Ossoff.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, I want a hot president.
About your weight loss, they talked about how you look different. The idea of like slimming down is somewhat connected to folks' idea of a presidential run. I wanted to know what went into your decision to focus on your health.
I've been challenged with my weight for, most of my life, honestly. And so, the idea, and I have succeeded and failed.
Right. It appears Pritzker seems smaller. He's either lost a lot of weight or split into two separate douchebags. So you got Newsom, Pritzker, Ossoff. They all also reference JFK, Bill Clinton. These are all straight white dudes. The same cisnormative scum responsible for everything bad. Talk about a sausage party. Or with Bill Clinton, a pig in a blanket. You got to wonder, where are the women? Or the gays, the trans, the plus-size castratos? Those groups were your priority once. They were on top of the identity pyramid, breaking the glass ceiling, not to mention a few chairs and sofas. But now it's jawlines over bloodlines. My guess is the Dems are just tired of crying themselves to sleep, clutching a picture of Pete Hegseth. I've been there. And look, everyone likes hot people. They're healthier, more confident, and look better naked on my hidden camera photos. But we knew this, and the Democrats denied it. The right never had a problem with being hot. It was them. In fact, the reason the left are so ugly is because their ideas are hideous. Ugly ideas make ugly people, which is why the left is so angry and shrill. Their faces could knock 20 buzzards off a wagon. They spent years calling beauty standards oppressive. They claimed you could be healthy at any size, even if hunters came from Africa to take shots at you. Dress codes, diets, grooming, fitness, everything that required discipline was called racist, sexist, or sizist. And it was for the same reason they rejected anything successful. It's hard. And since they couldn't pull themselves out of the mud, they expected you to join them. Forget exercise, nutrition, basic grooming. All they needed was purple hair and a nose ring that wouldn't impede the onslaught of French fries. But now they say it's good looks, not policy, that they're after. And in doing so, they abandoned their own foot soldiers, the greasy drum circle radicals, the unwashed who filled their own marches for Gaza and BLM. So good luck, Dems. But this will never work. It's true, sex sells. I have receipts from 9 different massage parlors proving just that. But people want safe streets, good schools, a decent place to raise a family. They don't want a tall, slender lounge lizard who paroles pedophiles.
Damn, you guys just called him a lizard in the chat. Look, I'm getting attacked by pervert. Yeah, that's right. Oh my! But here's the problem: is the scary part is Dems will go for it. As I said, Kamala Harris had a huge. She could have won. She could have won. All she had to do was listen to her voters. Listen to what they were saying. Her constituents were telling her, dude, these are the things. They told Biden the same thing. They could have won. And they almost did. And that's the scary part with this guy. He could probably come and win, even though he destroyed California. And the whole time he was here, he did nothing but go down, 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 down. It's a disaster. They'll go for it.
It's why the right won, because they weren't just nice to look at. Their ideas were hot. And really, winning makes everything better looking, including me. Hard to believe I was once just an 8.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Oh, shit. I want to go to Kennedy, but he's amazing. He's awesome. But it takes him a minute to get revved up. Ted Cruz jumps right into it. Should we get into Jack Smith, this one right now?
Thank you. Let's start with the foundation.
So
Ms. Cleveland.
This just happened today, earlier today, and this was basically where they were spying on all the Republicans. They were tapping all their phone lines. Should we check this out? Let's do it.
Jack Smith issued nearly 200 subpoenas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Those subpoenas targeted over 400 Republican individuals and organizations, correct?
Correct.
Many of whom had no connection to those who entered the Capitol on January 6th, correct?
Absolutely.
And in fact, some of those organizations didn't even exist on January 6th. Is that correct?
It is.
So we're not talking about a narrow investigation. We're talking about a sweeping operation targeting virtually the entirety of the other side politically.
It was a fishing expedition.
So let's turn to the Constitution. Subpoenaing the toll records of members of Congress, does that raise serious constitutional concerns?
Absolutely. And in fact, we have the PIN who notified the special counsel's office of those concerns. And Jack Smith had apparently said that he was going to consult with the Solicitor General, according to the release of the information from Senator Grassley this morning. Yet when he was deposed by the House and was specifically asked if he spoke with the Solicitor General, he said, on this discrete issue, no.
Among other issues, it raises significant issues with the speech and debate clause, correct?
Absolutely.
So much so that, as you noted, when Jack Smith subpoenaed AT&T to get my toll records, AT&T refused to comply with the subpoena because they concluded that it violated the speech and debate clause. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct, and they backed down.
Jack Smith did not try to enforce that subpoena, did he?
He did not.
He did not go to court and litigate the matter, did he?
He did not.
Does that suggest, as it does to me, that he knew damn well what he was doing was illegal and would not be upheld in court?
It does suggest that.
When the federal government subpoenas donor lists, internal communications, organization records, does that implicate the First Amendment and also freedom of association in particular?
It does, and the Supreme Court made that clear in the NAACP case.
Mr. Chamberlain, aside from the legal violations, what specific crimes, if any, were actually uncovered as a result of the Arctic Frost investigation?
I'm not aware of any crimes that were uncovered.
Would the senators, donors, organizations, and individuals who were surveilled and subpoenaed have ever learned about the Arctic Frost investigation had Trump not won in 2024?
Probably not.
You guys getting all this? I see you guys chatting, but you guys getting what just happened? They subpoenaed and they went after, they spied on, they tapped the phone lines of hundreds of Republicans. They found zero crimes, but of course we know they were spying, right? And the reality is, if Trump did not get elected, nobody would have known what they did. We're pulling it all out, guys.
Mainly because of these non-disclosure orders, but also, I mean, the fact that a lot of these records we're now just learning about them because they were in these prohibited access files only available to the FBI director. So if the FBI director was a Democrat, there's no reason to think we'd know about them.
Look at that.
How would you compare the scope of the violations in Arctic Frost to Watergate?
Let me go back. Hold on.
I think if
of the violation, how would you compare?
Yeah, learning about them, but
learned about the Arctic individuals
that were uncovered.
Listen to this.
Would the senators, donors, organizations, and individuals who were surveilled and subpoenaed have ever learned about the Arctic Frost investigation had Trump not won in 2024?
Probably not. Mainly because of these non-disclosure orders, but also, I mean, the fact that a lot of these records we're now just learning about them because they were in these prohibited access files only available to the FBI director. So if the FBI director was a Democrat, there's no reason to think we'd know about them.
How would you compare the scope?
Imagine, bro. Imagine all of these Republicans that are finding out that their phones were tapped. They would have never known their phones were being tapped, recorded, and all that stuff, all that documentation. If we had a Democratic FBI director, they would never know. Never know. It's crazy.
Scope of the violations in Arctic Frost.
Now you guys know why everyone knew we had to go through and gut the FBI, because this is the stuff they were doing. Look at this.
To Watergate?
I think, if anything, it might even be greater. I mean, the scope of this in terms of the sheer number of people and organizations affected, and as I discussed, I mean, this brazen violation of attorney-client privilege, wiretapping a phone call between Susie Wiles and her lawyer, these are egregious offenses. And you know, if Watergate was just about a single break-in, I mean, this is effectively, compound that by 200.
You guys got that? Watergate was 1. This is 200. Now, we got Senator Kennedy queued up next. He's asking the same people questions, and that's where it gets more fun. So
all right, Mr. O'Leary, I appreciate your service.
Oh, these are names of here's some names of some Republicans. Ready for this? Let's go. Watch. Look at the sign he's holding. I'll read it to you.
All right.
Okay. Democrat DOJ spied on Republican senators, over, is it 20% of Republican senators targeted? Senator Cruz, Mike Lee, Josh Hawley, which we love, Lindsey Graham, which we love, John Kennedy, which we absolutely love. Imagine how pissed off John Kennedy is, bro. They spied on him, bro. They tapped their freaking phones, bro. This is crazy. Marsha Blackburn, Ron Johnson, Rick Scott, Bill Haggerty, Don Sullivan, Tommy Tuberville, Cynthia Loon, and the list goes on.
Mr. O'Leary, I appreciate your service. One of the things you testified is you said, quote, the effectiveness and legitimacy of the FBI depend on its independence from political influence.
We love Lindsey Graham because of his push for what happened with Iran. He was really pushing Trump to go and go into Iran.
I very much agree with that, and I will say as an alumnus of the Department of Justice, I am deeply saddened, and frankly, I'm angry that under President Biden, the Department of Justice and the FBI were weaponized and its integrity badly, badly compromised.
This is, again, one of the main reasons why I'm no longer on the left. I used to be a lefty. Now I'm not. This is one of the I thought all my Democratic leaders on the left were doing right by Americans. We're doing the right thing. We're after freedom of speech. They were after, people, letting people live be able to live without all of this nonsense, all this bullshit. I thought the right was wrong all the time. When I found out all this stuff is happening, they're using the FBI. Well, the big one for me was they were using the FBI to shut down freedom of speech on social media. I found out just by randomly running into this kind of thing on my own. These are the kind of things that made me flip.
You are right. That's how the FBI is supposed to behave, and that's how the Department of Justice is supposed to behave. So Jack Smith was not investigating a crime based on evidence. He issued subpoenas to get the toll records of the following senators: Mike Lee, seated to my right; Josh Hawley, Lindsey Graham, John Kennedy, seated to my right; Marsha Blackburn, Ron Johnson, Rick Scott, Bill Haggerty, Dan Sullivan, Tommy Tuberville, Cynthia Lummis, and myself. That's over 20% of the Republicans in the United States Senate.
Crazy.
Mr. O'Leary, is it consistent with the obligations of the Department of Justice and the FBI to issue subpoenas with no factual basis and no legal basis?
Senator, it is not, and in my experience, FBI agents would never approach a matter without the proper justification and articulable facts to open their investigation.
Okay, good. So you said they would never do that. Judge Boasberg signed an order. I'm holding the order right here.
Boasberg, this judge, I don't know. Is there a way for us to get take Boasberg down somehow, hold him accountable for what he's done?
In which he concludes, and I'm going to read, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure, in other words, notifying the senators on that list, will result in destruction of or tampering with evidence, intimidation of potential witnesses, and serious jeopardy of the investigation. Are you aware of any factual basis whatsoever that a dozen senators will destroy evidence?
I am not, but I will tell you that non-disclosure orders are a routine part of investigations.
Based on facts. Give me any hypothetical fact. By the way, do you know any facts that I will destroy evidence? Let's take it me personally.
I cannot,
Because Jack Smith went into court and said, I will destroy evidence if I know about the subpoena. And this clown signed the order one after the other after the other. Are you aware of any basis? Look, I'm a member of the bar. I take my obligations seriously. The FBI signed off on that. Mike Lee concluded he would destroy evidence. John Kennedy, well, Louisiana, maybe. I will say, I'll give a special dispensation for the great state of Louisiana.
We're going to hear from John Kennedy right now, bro. I can't wait.
But there is no basis. By the way, is it consistent with DOJ's obligation to also ask a judge to violate the law and not inform the judge of it?
No, it would not be.
Well, 2 U.S.C. Section 6628 explicitly bars nondisclosure orders applying to the Senate. And yet, in the lawless Department of Justice, I assume they didn't tell Judge Boasberg, hey, we're asking you to violate the law. Would you sign this? Do you assume that as well?
You would have to ask the DOJ that, but you make a good point, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Here we go.
Mr. Chamberlain, I believe 4 telephone companies received these subpoenas for the phone records, the metadata of 20 members of Congress. Is that your understanding?
That sounds right to me, yes.
Okay. I don't have time to talk about all of them. Let me just pick one. Verizon.
Fuck, I love this guy,
About
bro. I love him.
90,000 employees,
I wanna
I
hug
think.
him. I want to hug him.
$140 billion worth of revenue. Does Verizon hire dummies to work in its legal department?
I should think not. They've probably got a good reservoir of lawyers to pick from.
Okay. Let's suppose you were one of the lawyers at Verizon, and you don't strike me as a dummy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And you got a subpoena from Jack Smith.
What's up, Benji, bro? Love your content, man. Dude, we love Kennedy, man. He is the best. He's so good.
With an NDO, non-disclosure order, signed by Judge Boasberg.
By the way, if you're watching on Instagram and you want to come over to YouTube, we got 600-700 people watching live right now on YouTube. It's a very lively chat. So, and by the way, on YouTube we have I have 2 live streams going. One of them is a horizontal. There's only like 2-3 people there, but there's another one. You'll see there's like 500-600 right now, 620 people on there. Go to that one, and it's a very lively chat if you want that.
Do you think a reasonably competent lawyer at Verizon would know who Jack Smith was?
Yes, I think so.
Do you think a reasonably competent lawyer at Verizon would know who Judge Boasberg was or would inquire about him?
Yeah, I think you could pretty quickly Google him, and if you were concerned that maybe he wasn't actually a federal district judge, I think it's pretty obvious that you'd be able to figure out what's going on.
I mean, it was pretty widely known that President Biden instructed the Attorney General to sue President Trump, and that he hired Jack Smith, wasn't it? I mean, that was on the front page of every paper. If you were an attorney at Verizon and you got a subpoena like this, wouldn't you say, maybe I need to check and see who Mr. Smith is subpoenaing here?
Yeah, and especially once I found out it was a representative, it would immediately raise that flag of, like, maybe there's a legal exception here that doesn't apply in other cases.
Do we know if the employee who received this subpoena at Verizon even sought a legal opinion from an attorney at Verizon?
I do not know.
Well, let's just assume for a second that Verizon, sophisticated company that it is not so incompetent that they wouldn't have had a lawyer look at this. Lawyer looks at it and says, Jack Smith. Lawyer looks at it and says, NDO signed by Judge Boasberg. Lawyer looks at the names, as a reasonably competent lawyer would. Says, they're members of Congress. If that was you, what would you do?
Well, I'd make a few phone calls. I'd do legal research to confirm that, complying with this order was obviously lawful, and I might, gently try and push back on the subpoena to try and understand,
well, and
what was going on.
In fact, you would probably discover the law, being the very competent lawyer that you are, that said no judicial order can bar Verizon from picking up the phone and calling the member of Congress, wouldn't you?
That's right.
You'd probably find that statute.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did find that statute, in order to protect Verizon, as you're their lawyer, wouldn't you have filed a motion to quash?
That's exactly what I do, yeah.
But Verizon didn't do any of that, did they?
Apparently not.
They just sucked all this information up like a Hoover Deluxe.
Yeah.
They didn't even look at, that we know of, to see if these were members of Congress.
Yes, that's right.
They sucked it up like a Hoover Deluxe. Holy cow. Here we go, guys. And someone put a message here about Edwin Edwards. So I just looked it up while we're listening. And let me see, where's the comment here I put on the screen. Anyway, I can't find it now. But here is Edwin Edwards. For those of you wondering, let me plug this right in. This is him right here. And he was, it says here, an American politician who served as the U.S. representative for Louisiana's 7th Congressional District from 1965 to 1972. So I guess from what this person was saying in the chat, this was his mentor. Good to know. I love John Kennedy. I have his book right here, and I just started his book, which it's amazing already. Just a little tiny bit that I've started. Let's keep going.
What kind of liability does Verizon have here?
That's a good question. I need to read the statute more clearly to see what what the actual penalties are. But my guess is there would be some pretty reasonable civil penalties for having done so.
What kind of remedies, if any, are there for the fact that Judge Boasberg said that he had reasonable grounds to believe that these members of Congress would destroy evidence, and that he made that conclusion without holding a hearing?
I mean, I think the only remedy to that is political and impeachment. I don't think there's a unique. You can't sue Judge Boasberg for damages for his judicial decision making. So,
see, that's the part that I was asking. He says you can't sue Judge Boasberg for his judicial decisions. That's what sucks. That's what sucks. Josh, I'm down. Look what Josh said. Josh says I should have live book readings. I started doing this one time, and all of a sudden my viewership went down. I was like, oh, wow, you guys do not like. But I'm going to, at some point, I'll come and I'll do like separate live just book readings, and I'm down to do that. Because I have a couple really good books, especially Thomas Sowell, really good ones on. I have Thomas. It's called the book I'm reading right now. It's called the Thomas Sowell the Thomas Sowell Reader, I believe it's called, and it has all this. He wrote little articles throughout his whole career, and it has little articles throughout. It's a whole book that thick, full of little 2-page articles, and you get a whole. He gives you his whole perspective in 2 pages, and you could just read like 1 or 2 of those. If you just want a quick read. Very good. Anyway, let me hit play. Let's go.
The only remedy is political.
Would you consider it to be grossly incompetent if Judge Boasberg had not even inquired who these people were, and whether they were members of Congress?
Oh, yes, extremely incompetent.
Okay. That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hirono.
Oh, no, I wanted more. I wanted more, Kennedy. Oh, I love Kennedy. Do we got to go to Kennedy on, let's see what he's doing here, 50 here.
It's 42.3%. And, sir, I want you to listen to Senator Schumer. He says that President Trump is the
John
one
Kennedy.
that is standing in the way of TSA paychecks. Watch.
Let's make it very clear. Donald Trump is the one standing in the way of paychecks for TSA workers with the ridiculous attempt to pass the SAVE Act.
No, he's not. It's the Democrats standing in the way. It's Democrats that did not fund that bill to fund Department of Homeland Security, DHS. They didn't fund TSA. They didn't fund FEMA. They didn't fund, what else? ICE. The whole reason is because they don't want to fund ICE, but that's what happened. Let's keep going.
The SAVE Act, which would destroy a lot of what we know about democracy.
I feel like the senator is trying to reverse uno the situation for the reason that the shutdown started in the first place, sir.
Well, look, Senator Schumer, in this instance anyway, he's lying. He's lying like fish swim. I mean, here's what's going on. We've had DHS shut down for 38 days, I think. The Democrats at one point voted to fund DHS, and then they backtracked. We've been debating the SAVE Act for, I don't know, 10 days, I guess. We're stuck. I'm a big believer that when you're stuck, you ought to try to plow around the stump, not through it. So Senator Cruz and I, a few days ago, came up with a two-step process to
what up, Dave?
To solve both problems. Step one, we would open up everything at DHS except ICE, including TSA, which the Democrats have already agreed to, and then we would fund ICE through reconciliation.
So you get what this is, and I think Dave, we talked about this earlier today, actually. Whoa. There we go. So what happened is this. Democrats decided not to approve the bill that would be funding DHS, which is ICE, FEMA, TSA, and so on and so forth, cybersecurity, all kinds of things, okay? So they decided not to go forward with that bill. What Senator Kennedy is saying is we should continue the way the Democrats will approve it so we can fund TSA and get all of these people that are working, get them their paychecks because they're right now working without paychecks. And then we'll do a reconciliation to fund ICE on its own. So it's like a workaround. It's something that can be done. It's a little more difficult, but it can be done. Now, here's the thing. Someone in the chat said, oh, but I thought ICE is already, the big, beautiful bill funded ICE. Yes, it funded ICE. Here's the crazy part. ICE is funded. ICE is getting paychecks, but for a certain amount of time. TSA, however, is not. And here's why the Democrats did the worst thing to their own voters, if TSA voted for them, but which I'm assuming they did. But here's the thing. Democrats decided not to pass a bill to fund it. They took money out of the pockets of all these other agencies, FEMA, TSA, and all these other things. ICE is still getting their money, though. They're going to keep getting their money. So, dude, they totally screwed up. It's crazy. And says we got to get Medi to 20K. Watch him grow from 30K. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was at 3K, and then now we're at 20K. We're getting there. We're almost there, guys. We're doing it. It's pretty good stuff. It's been a hell of a ride. Thanks for being there since the beginning, guys. Love you guys.
Which we could do only with Republican votes. We wouldn't need any Democratic votes. I don't speak for some.
Somebody says, screw Pahlavi and all you traitors. Let me put that on the screen here so people can talk to you if they want to. This is that person. He says, screw Pahlavi and all you traitors. Really? So what is your solution? If you're saying screw Pahlavi, what is your big, beautiful solution that you have, which is the alternate to Pahlavi? Let's go. See what you got.
Senator Cruz on this part of it, but I also have suggested that we use the reconciliation process with only Republican votes to pass the SAVE Act. Now, we pitched this to Senator Thune a couple of days ago. He pitched it to President Trump. President Trump, as you know from his tweets, said no. But I talked to Senator Thune last night, and he says the president.
Trump is number one, the greatest president of our lifetime, and he is the Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope.
Right here. Check it out. Woo! He is literally the Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope.
Right here, baby. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, right there. The Great White Hope. Let's go. Hell yeah, bro. Best president ever, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Let's go.
President has reconsidered and may be on board. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know for certain.
That's a bit of a stem winder. We'll try and nail it down because all the reporting suggested
18,600, baby. Thank you for following, guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
last night that there was a breakthrough. A, was there a breakthrough? And B, if you're going to reconciliation is simple majority vote. But the rules in the Senate still have to say, okay, you're allowed to vote on this piece of legislation under the rules of the Senate as they fit reconciliation. Can you do that for ICE? And can you do that for the Save America Act with a simple 51 votes?
I think we can clearly do it for ICE. Doing it for the SAVE Act is a closer question. And look, the Senate has a lot of lawyers, Bill, and on both sides, and they're all good lawyers. I mean, they're all astonishingly self-assured. All of us think that we're Oliver Wendell Scalia, but what I would do is enlist some outside help that has a lot of experience with the Budget Control Act. I've seen things pass muster under the Budget Control Act that I didn't think had a hope.
Imagine, bro. I got to run for governor next time. No, I missed it this time, but imagine. Oh, man. Maybe I got to start as a mayor somewhere and then work my way up, but we'll see how that goes. I think I can do more doing what I'm doing here. So if I can grow this, I'll probably be more effective than any kind of seat that I could get.
And I've seen some that couldn't pass muster that I thought were slam dunks. But it's our only shot. I mean, it's our only shot, and I think it's worth taking it. The American people are tired of us speechifying and yelling at each other. I'm tired of it.
But you had a suggestion about how members of the Senate should not get paid during a government shutdown. There was an objection from a Democrat from Hawaii. I want to play this exchange and get your take. Watch.
And the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there an objection?
I object.
The objection is heard.
I want to give my colleague, Senator Schatz, more time. As he objected and left the chamber, is he coming back?
Okay, what happened here, guys, is actually very interesting. So Senator Kennedy presented something so that he could basically set something up to where the senators won't get pay for as long as the TSA are not getting paid, or for as long as they don't pass the bill to fund DHS. But guess what? Some random Democrat in the chamber objected to it, and then just got up and walked out of the chamber. And the guy's not even there. He just got up and said, objection, or he objected to it, and he just got up and left. And now he's like, dude, are you able to do that? Like, it doesn't even make sense.
I assume he did not come back.
Is he coming back? He objected and left the chamber. Is he coming back?
I assume he did not come back. This seems like a common sense thing to me, that if members of Congress can't get paid, they might be more willing to try to figure out a way to prevent the situation we have now.
Well, I don't know where he went. He left the chambers quickly. You couldn't find him with a search party. I assume it was by design. Look, my bill passed both both Republicans and Democrats on the Rules Committee. It was unanimous. It would just say senators.
Unanimous. So think about that. It passed the Rules Committee unanimous. Every single Democrat and Republican passed it. They agreed to it. They voted on it. It was unanimous. Every single one said yes. But when he presents it, one Democrat in the back objects and walks out of the chamber and can't be found. Craziest thing.
Can't get paid as long as everybody passed both. Look, my bill passed both both Republicans and Democrats on the Rules Committee. It was unanimous. It would just say senators can't get paid as long as everybody else can't get paid. It was just a simple matter of shared pain, shared sacrifice, and I presented it. And one senator, without achieving recognition from the floor, said, "I object," and quickly left the chamber. Now, that's his right, but I've never seen that happen in 10 years, and so I challenged the ruling of the chair. And if I'd had a little more time, I might have won, but another Democratic senator quickly moved to put us on a quorum. But like the Terminator, I will be back.
All right.
This is a matter of fact.
You asked, is the senator ill?
I don't know who that member was. I don't know who it was that objected and opposed it and disappeared. I wish I knew. I don't know who it was.
I assume he was not.
He was ill at having to object.
I got it. Senator, thank you.
Senator.
We'll wait on the
The
breakthrough.
Terminator. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Damn. Good old Senator Kennedy, man. We love him. Love him.
Fox News Alert, as we are saying, means John Kennedy, who's with us now as we've worked out our technical difficulties. So, Senator, Democrats say we'll fund it. We'll fund DHS. That means FEMA. We'll fund airport security, but we're not going to fund ICE. And to that, you say, okay?
Well, I thought what Senator Cruz and I proposed would work. It's not going to work. Let me explain why. What we have right now, Will, is very frustrating. It's just basically murk, mess, and mayhem. I've been up here 10 years, and this is one of the worst I've seen. It's kind of like if the Hindenburg crashed into the Titanic. All we're doing is speechifying, get nothing done. American people are tired of listening to it. I'm tired of listening to it. I think it's starting to lower my IQ. So Senator Cruz and I came up with a plan. We said, look, it's a two-step process. The Democrats have offered to open up everything but ICE. Ted and I said, okay, let's accept their offer. And then at the same time, we would offer a bill for reconciliation where we don't need any Democratic votes to do whatever we wanted to do with ICE. And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. We submitted that. Senator Thune submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no. No deals with the Democrats. So we're back to square one, but I've got a plan B.
Benji says most Democrats support. Hold on, let me read it here. Most Americans support the SAVE Act passing in the Senate. This is clearly a bipartisan issue, with over 70% of Democrats also supporting voter ID. Dems lost their moral compass. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. They completely lost their moral compass. And again, another thing is you're talking about the SAVE Act. They stand to lose because they're the ones that will be losing if voter ID goes through. If it goes through, all of the illegals and all that kind of stuff is going to be much harder for them, or the non-citizens. It's going to be tough for them to do, and it's going to be tough for Dems to rig the elections. So they're not going to go for that. On top of that, they will oppose anything Trump proposes. They will oppose anything Trump proposes. They will go against Trump on anything. Again, if Trump saves a baby from drowning in the ocean, Democrats will be upset because he's going to be starving the sharks. If let me see if I can pull this clip, bro, because Senator Kennedy said it himself. If Trump came out in favor of breathing to live, Democrats would hold their breath.
We can shut down all negotiations with our Democratic colleagues and just do the entire thing through reconciliation. Exactly. Do ICE, do FEMA, do TSA, get them back open, do the Coast Guard, do Secret Service. We don't need a single Democratic vote. That's how we pass the one big, beautiful bill. Now, it will take longer. It will have to probably go through the House, and we have to go through the procedure in the Senate. It'll take 10 days or so, but it'll get us back open, and it will satisfy the president's requirement that we.
So that's the kicker. So that's what Kennedy proposed. He says, okay, fine, let's pass it how the Democrats will do it. They're going to fund everything but ICE, and then we do reconciliation and fund ICE. So that's the strategy, because Democrats won't do it. There's nothing you can do to get them to pass the bill with ICE getting funded, even though ICE is already funded. Again, guys, if you're on Instagram and you want to chat with everyone else, we got over 700 people on YouTube right now live, so you guys can have a more active chat with everyone else on there.
Do not make any kind of deal with the Democrats.
And is that Plan A, Senator? Now is that Plan A?
That I don't know. We're on so many plans. I think that's Plan Squillion.
Okay.
Will Senator look? Senator Thune is the majority leader, as all majority leaders. Has total control of the floor. He decided.
I gotta pull one of those clips where they just have all of his one-liners in one video.
That's what can be voted on. And I didn't see any reason going forward with Ted and I's plan if the president's going to veto it. It would have worked. We could have had TSA paid by the end of the week. But the president said no deals, so my Plan B, or Plan Squillion, would be no deals with the Democrats. It'll take a little longer, but we won't need any Democratic votes.
And go straight to reconciliation. Okay,
just
Sarah,
go straight to reconciliation.
Yeah, we'll be watching for that reconciliation bill. Sounds like the only way right now to keep 2-hour lines away from Atlanta, keep everyone safe in LaGuardia.
Yeah, I mean, government is supposed to bring order, not disorder.
Yeah.
You're just being too emotional. Right now, what we have is disorder. It's not acceptable. As far as I'm concerned, if the TSA folks are not being paid, senators shouldn't be paid. I tried to bring a bill.
I agree with that. I totally agree with this.
Yesterday, it's not acceptable.
If you read enough Thomas Sowell, you will learn that Thomas Sowell totally disagrees with the fact that you have a lot of people who are making decisions and on policies and all kinds of things that affect people, but they don't affect the people that they're making. The people that are making those decisions, it doesn't affect them. It affects the other people, and they make decisions that affect other people adversely. And Thomas Sowell is way against. Yeah, he's way against that. Anyway, here is I'm just gonna put this again because I want to hear this one more time.
Yeah, I mean, government is supposed to bring order, not disorder.
Yeah.
And right now, what we have is disorder. It's not acceptable. As far as I'm concerned, if the TSA folks are not being paid, senators shouldn't be paid. I tried to bring a bill yesterday on the floor and got objected to by the Democrats, but we'll try again.
You've long said if the government shut down.
All right, here's a video that I put on. I made this clip a while ago now, but this is the one that I was talking about here.
Emotional. You need to go.
Hang on.
You're just being too emotional. You need to go drink a big, old, cold, tall glass of Get Over It. President Trump was duly elected president of the United States. He was in a free election. And the American people spoke. And some of my colleagues are upset about that. In fact, they hate the president so much, they've shut down government. They hate him so much that if President Trump came out in favor of breathing to live, they would hold their breath. It's not rational. You're just being too emotional. You need to go.
It's not rational. It's not, bro. It's not rational. Cochetta on Instagram is saying squillion. Yeah, that's his. When he's talking about like a high number, he doesn't say like a bazillion. He says a squillion. That's Kennedy's way of doing that.
And the people making the law shouldn't get
our favorite.
It is now President Trump, or when it was Obama or Biden.
This is where he was going after them and he got pissed. So
That's the big question right now. Let's bring in retired four-star General Jack Keane, Fox News senior strategic analyst, former Army Vice Chief of Staff, and now chairman of the Institute for the Study of War for quite some time. General, it's always good to have you with us. What do you think this gift that the president's referring to is?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, maybe transit to the Gulf, some of our shipping, Gulf oil. I have no idea what that is. But, you know, in terms of where are we really? First of all, on the military side, let me just state for our audience, we are well on our way to accomplishing every single objective that the president assigned to the United States military. And the same thing is true of the IDF. Prime Minister Netanyahu assigned objectives to them. There is no doubt in our minds that we can accomplish all of those objectives, to include opening the Straits of Hormuz by force and keeping it open. And it's largely the fact that that operation is continuing, and the president is insisting on it continuing, that gives us leverage in these negotiations. And while we can't get into the details of what those negotiations are, I mean, based on what I do know in a general sense about it, while the regime likely would stay in power, they're surrendering everything that we would take away from them using military operations.
The regime won't be staying in power. And guys, thank you for subscribing to the channel. We're over 18,600 now on YouTube. Obviously crushing that on Instagram, 142,000 on Instagram. And more on other there's more on other platforms, but these are the two big ones. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys supporting. There is not going to be an Islamic Republic anymore once this is all done. Everyone keeps asking, hey, does that mean they're going to stay in power? No, they're not. They're not going to stay in power. By the way, I said it earlier, at this point in time, at this point in our war against Iran, it's no longer up to President Trump what's going to happen, but he's not going to back out. President Trump has been talking about this since 1980. I put out a video just the other day talking about it. He's not going to back out until all these Islamic clerics are gone and the country's in the hands of the people themselves, not the Islamic ayatollahs, supreme leaders, and clerics and all that kind of stuff. Not at all. That's not going to happen. Netanyahu won't let that happen. Israel doesn't want to keep looking over their shoulders. America doesn't want to keep looking over our shoulders. Nobody wants to nobody in the whole planet wants to look over their shoulders anymore. We're all over it. It's all done. And more importantly, the people of themselves, Iranians themselves in Iran, don't want to look over their shoulders. They've been wanting to get rid of this regime for 50 years. Now's the time. The regime has been weakened so badly that I think she's making me a protein shake. The regime has been weakened so badly that the Iranian people themselves have been able to assemble and create Iran Immortal Guard, and that guard now is going in and attacking the Basij Islamic members on the ground, and they're taking them out as well. So they're going to get the job done. Iranians will not ever move forward with that Islamic regime in power. It's not going to happen. So it's totally. I'm going to put this up. You're right. Where is this one? Where is it? Yeah. So that's not going to happen. And we're totally going to get a brand new government. It's going to be in the hands of the people. Can't wait for that to happen. Guys, again, thank you for subscribing. You guys are running it up. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support.
And that makes me skeptical, to be frank. One, whether they will actually agree to all of that. And two, they are pathological liars and cheaters. And we are so used to that through all of these years. After all, the president tried to work a deal with them, Martha, before hostilities began and couldn't deal with them, was fed up with them, and knew full well that they were ideologically bent and committed returning to
the Great White Hope, right here. That's right.
The Great White Hope.
Right there, baby. Right there. That's right.
They have always been after the 12-day war, and the intelligence evidence of what they were doing demonstrated that clearly, and that is why hostilities began. If there really truly is a change of heart here, and they are clearly willing to
Thank you, buddy. And who is this? This guy says, a small town, something here. Scratcher says, this dude is a clown.
Give up everything that they value.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
While I'm skeptical of it, certainly that would be a monumental deal and concession on their part.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen.
It's clear that the regime wants to survive, and that is the most basic element of what they are hoping to hang on to here. I just want to play this soundbite. This is from back in February. This is the Iranian president, Pezeshkian, who is still in power. Here's what he said back in February. Watch this.
We are not seeking nuclear weapons. We have announced this over and over, that we are ready for any verification.
So he has long said, we're not seeking nuclear weapons. I interviewed him several months ago. He said the same thing to me. And I said, well, why do you enrich to 60% then? And he said, because the IAEA allows us to enrich to that level. That's why we do it. So what is different now? Obviously, their military has been decimated. How do you see it?
Well, what's different now, I think whoever it is that we're speaking to, by the way, we're not speaking directly to the Iranians yet.
They came out and admitted they were making, they're enriching to higher levels to make nuclear weapons. And I have the video. I'll find it and put it on right now.
We're talking through mediators or third parties who are relaying messages back and forth. And what our negotiators, led by Steve Wickoff, are attempting to do is have a direct meeting face-to-face, possibly Pakistan or some other place, and that answer has not arrived yet. But listen to what you just put up there. I mean, this is the pathological line that's been going on forever. And then they boast to Steve.
This is the video right here. Let me put the sound. Not that it'll help you because he's speaking in Farsi, but where'd it go? Where did it go? Here. Oh, wait. Where are you at? Where are you at? There you
ببینید ما اول که وارد این فعالیت هسته‌ای شدیم واقعا هدفمون ساخت بمب بود دیگه ما تعارف که نداریم.
He says when we first started this, our goal was to have nuclear weapons. We're not denying that point.
یعنی شما میگید هدف ساخت بمب بوده واقعا. 100%. هدف کی این بوده؟
He says, so that's what you meant to do is have nuclear weapons, right? He says, yeah, 100%.
کل نظام یا همه اونایی که این فعالیت رو شروع کردن واقعا هدف ساخت بمب بود.
He says everyone that was involved, that from the very beginning, the goal was to build a nuclear bomb.
کاری که شروع کرده بودیم و دیگه
He says we had started and we wanted to go all the way.
می‌خواستیم کار خب بیرون شما
He says if we could keep it a secret and test the bomb.
اگه میتونستیم اینو حفظش کنیم و بمب آزمایش می‌کردیم کار تموم شده بود.
It would be over just like Pakistan. Once we began, we had to finish it.
حالا اینه که شما میگید میگم چون مطالعه رسمی
He says what you're saying we have never heard such things officially before.
خیلی نشدیم کسی این صحبت‌ها رو کنه. اینایی که
won't what are you saying affects the negotiations?
تفاوتی نداره مثلا مذاکرات.
Is that protein shake? I love it. Nice little protein shake, guys. In my Starbucks cup right there. There you go. There's some stuff at the bottom. You got to mix it up. Ooh, it's a little thick. Look at that. It says, won't be saying you're affecting negotiations. Oh, he says, won't what you're saying affect the negotiations? And then now he says, no one pays attention to what I say. Foreigners will eventually find out anyway.
Is the Iranian regime committed to America's destruction, in your opinion?
Yes.
Does the Iranian regime have American blood on their hands since its founding in 1979?
Yes.
Has Iran plotted assassination attempts against Americans on American soil?
Yes.
Was Iran developing a nuclear weapon prior to our military action last June? And did Iran remain committed to developing a nuclear weapon in the lead up to this conflict?
Yes, so I want to clarify on that because there's been much talk about a fatwa against the development of a nuclear weapon.
Can you come back to that 1 second? Let me finish
Yeah,
these.
you bet.
Okay? If left unchecked, do you think Iran would have the ability to develop missiles capable of reaching the United States?
Yes.
Did Israel force the U.S.'s hand and make us take action, as some have claimed?
No.
Director Gabbard.
So here's the interesting part. They're talking about what could happen. What we just learned is that it did happen. Not the nuke. Well, we don't know about. Well, A lot of things unconfirmed. What has just been confirmed is they did have missiles that went further than what they told us. They told us they had missiles that only went 2,000 meters or miles, or wait, was it miles? And they go kilometers. They go 2,000 kilometers, and now we found out they go 4,000 kilometers. And so what that means is, let me pull something up for you so you can look at this. I'll give you a little graph to show you how far they could have gone, and then I'm going to explain something else to you. Watch this. Watch this. You see that on your screen? Look at that. That's Iran. So the missiles that we just found out they have, because they shot them and we saw them go, can reach all the way to the outskirts of Europe. So they could cover they could hit anywhere in Europe and many other places around the world. But if we allowed them to, if we didn't do what we did in Venezuela, Iran was in Venezuela. Not sure if you guys are aware of that. If we didn't go in and take out Maduro, Iran could be posted up in Venezuela. Well, China was there. We know China was there. Russia was there. Iran was there. Iran had drones there. Iran didn't, I don't think they had these longer range, or they call it like mid-range missiles. But if they had them there, they could strike America with those missiles. And what if they put nuclear bombs on those missiles? Well, then now you can reach America with your nuclear bombs, nuclear missiles from Venezuela. And that was the big problem. That was it.
Do you agree with the CIA director's assessment on that last question in particular?
So that's what happened.
I now give the floor to the representative of Israel.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I would like to thank Mr. Alakbarov and Mr. Mladenov for the briefings, and to wish you good luck in your important mission, Mr. Mladenov. Madam President, we have said it before and we will continue to say it. In Gaza, Hamas must be disarmed. They have not done so yet. Israel fully supports President Trump's 20-point peace plan and Security Council Resolution 2803, and we continue to meet our obligations under Phase 2. But that process cannot move forward while Hamas remains armed. And let me be clear, the fact that we are acting forcefully against Iran and Hezbollah does not mean we are any less focused on Gaza.
Yes, you're actually right. Benji, you're right. No sane corporate, I know you said cooperation, but I know what you meant corporation, would stay in Newsom's California. Taxes are too high, bro. Taxes are too high. They would run, and they already have ran.
It is the opposite. In Gaza, we are confronting the same radical extremist ideology, one that hides behind civilians, uses them as the human shields, and turns homes, schools, and hospitals into instruments of war. It is the same fight, same tactics. For too long, we have dealt with the symptoms. Now we are dealing with the real source, with Iran. So let's be clear. This conflict with Iran did not start 3 weeks ago. It was built over decades. The Iranian regime armed proxies like Hamas, funded terror, and prepared for this moment. And now we are dismantling it. Together with our American allies, Israel has carried out over 8,500 strikes targeting missile launchers, weapons production facilities, and command centers. We have destroyed key elements of the regime's command structure. We have eliminated the figures driving this aggression. We tried diplomacy for years. You know that. This council invested in negotiations, dialogue, agreements, monitoring frameworks, and the regime exploited it, delaying, deceiving, and advancing its capabilities deep within underground mountains. It always claimed peaceful intent. It claimed it was not seeking nuclear weapons. Those claims have not matched its actions. Just a few weeks ago, Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, was asked in an interview directly, whether Iran has missiles with a range beyond 2,000 kilometers. He answered, and I quote him directly, not 2 years ago, a few weeks ago, in the direct quote, "We don't have those. We have intentionally kept the range of our missiles below
I don't
2,000
believe
kilometers.
the Iranian
so
regime was ever given a chance to see how."
This video right here will drive you crazy if you just look at this. Look at what this guy, Norman Finkelstein, if you can stay awake while he's talking, because he just makes you want to fall asleep, listen to this and try not to lose your mind.
Myself, and I've interviewed him several times, that Israel would be quite happy to carry on having an extended war against what they see as the great enemy. You know, we've had Netanyahu talking about a 40-year, sort of dream of this moment coming, and now able to carry it through. I've talked to him myself, and I've interviewed him several times. He's always been, Iran is the big problem. Iran is the one with all the tentacles. Iran's the one we have to take out. He's made no secret of this. So it may be that you've got two big nations here with completely different wishes for how this plays out, in the sense that now it is where it is. Donald Trump is probably thinking, I think, wouldn't want to put words in his mouth, but he changes a lot of what he says all the time. He's probably thinking, I need an off-ramp here. And Netanyahu may be thinking the complete opposite. Quite happy to have a...
Oh, dude, just got a super chat. I don't even know what kind of money this is or what it equates to, but it's 400 NGN. Thank you for the super chat. Insane TV short. Again, it's 400 NGN. Not sure what it is, but
a very level ramp carrying on for months or as long as it takes. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I'd say shalom from Israel. Thanks for having me on again. I'm happy.
Why is Norman Finkelstein?
I just did the whatever you call it. It's 29 cents. Thank you. Appreciate it. But thank you anyway.
Why does he look dead inside? Look at him. Look at him.
This is recorded. I'm happy that the video will be out in eternity. That's the fun part about making assessments. And I will really enjoy seeing all the doomsday experts and the instant military analysts and people who now claim to understand the Iranian regime, the Israel-Iran conflict, and understand the Middle East very well, and maritime warfare and many other things. And I really look forward to seeing their doomsday prophecies shatter at the face of reality when Israel and the U.S. will be able to not only reopen the Strait of Hormuz and force the Iranians back in positions, when the U.S. and Israel will help the Iranian people actually reclaim their freedom and get rid of this foreign oppression that has been governing the people of Iran for 47 years. And
just wait for this guy, Finkelstein, bro. You're going to lose your mind. You guys will all lose.
I look forward to the time when Israel and Iran, a free Iran.
Hold on a second, bro. Hold on. Who is this? Space Pants. I love it, bro. He just sent a $2 super chat. Space Pants just hooked it up, bro. He sent me 5 million NGN. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Thank you, Ron. You thought
On free of.
Yes, it's actually a chocolate protein shake. She puts dates in it, she also put like little chocolate chips in it, and she puts all kinds of stuff in there. It's really good.
Islamist oppression will reestablish diplomatic ties and trade and prosperity. I think, and I'm a realist. I don't think a lot of people can, blame me for being rosy-eyed or detached from reality. I stand on pretty solid ground. Most of the time, my analysis is usually based on my military experience and how I understand conflicts playing out. And I think this time, the balance of power between Iran on one side, the regime on one side, and the U.S. and Israel, and soon to be a few additional Gulf countries, it's not even a contest. And I strongly dispute what the distinguished professor said before, that Iran can escalate this horizontally and the US won't have anything to do in order to retaliate. Frankly, respectfully, he doesn't have a clue. There are so many things that both Israel and the US can do that can totally cripple the regime and can really reduce Iran's infrastructure, economy, ability to trade, ability to move, transport, import, export, and many other things that Israel and the US can do if they want to. And I think rightfully so.
For all I know, going to make.
We want them to stop dreaming about wiping Israel off the map by the year 2040, which was an official Iranian goal and policy.
Here we go.
And we would love for there to be diplomatic relations and trade and prosperity. So yeah, there are differences.
Okay.
Norman Finkelstein, guys, here we go.
Norman Finkelstein, welcome back to Uncensored. Great to have you again. What is your response there?
Thank you for having me.
What is your response to what Jonathan Conrick has just outlined?
I'm not a military person by training or by disposition, so I'm not going to make any prognostications about whether Israel will win in the short term, in the medium term, or the long term. And I believe that, in my opinion, is a separate question from what ought to be the right question to ask. If you were to go to a program in Germany during World War II.
Guys, this guy. Yes, that's really his last name, Finkelstein. That's his name. What up, Andy?
And there are various persons.
Benji, listen to what this dude says, bro. You're going to lose your mind.
On debating, should Germany have invaded Russia? Was it smart to wage a two-front war? Will Germany be able to prevail over Russia in the short or in the long term? For most people, sane people, that is, that's an insane question. Maybe Germany could have defeated Russia, for all I know. Or maybe it was an error, as it turned out to be. The question is, was it just? Was it right? Who is in the right and who is in the wrong?
What do you mean who is in the right and who is in the wrong? It's pretty clear who's in the right and who is in the wrong. The same country that's been funding Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and all of these terrorist proxies around the Middle East, they're the ones to blame. You didn't want us to attack Iran? Beautiful. Then don't fund proxies to try and eradicate Israel. Don't go out and chant death to America, death to Israel, death to Europe. Don't go out and...
Good night, man. Exactly. So this is Sahar TV. He's the one that's in the corner here talking right here. You can't see him, but he's like right here. But listen to what Norman keeps saying.
Do that. They chose to do it. Now they're the ones to blame.
Bad people win wars. That doesn't mean the war is right. Good people lose wars. That doesn't mean the good people are in the wrong. So let's look at the situation here. For 2.5 years, Israel waged what's called the crime of crimes. Israel waged a genocide in Gaza. And then, before even the blink of an eye, Israel launched what was called at Nuremberg the supreme international crime, the crime of aggression.
Keep in mind, guys, this guy is Jewish. And the propaganda from Islam is so strong, it got Jews to hate themselves. Imagine.
So we have Israel and its chief enabler, the United States, guilty of the crime of crimes, the crime of genocide. And then, before even the blink of an eye, Israel and its chief enabler, the United States, waging the supreme international crime of aggression. In fact, on the latter point, the supreme international crime of aggression, there hasn't even been the attempt, the pretense, the pretext of a debate. There is no dispute whatsoever, none, that Israel and its chief enabler, the United States, are guilty of the supreme international crime of aggression in violation of Article 2 of the UN Charter, and for which it has no grounds whatsoever, zero grounds of self-defense under Article 51 of the UN Charter. That being the case...
Wow, Norman Finkelstein is tiring. He speaks in such a slow pace, I'm dying. And Piers, I can tell he doesn't like it. He wants chaos, he wants aggression, he wants fighting. This is so boring.
There can't be any dispute, none whatsoever, that Iran had the right and continued.
They're like, bro, please hurry up. Can you please go a little faster? What is this guy talking about? This guy creates his own words, his own things, his own realities, and he says it as if it is the reality, as if it's the everyone agreed upon these truths of his. The crime of crimes, the supreme crime of something. What is he talking about?
To have the right of self-defense against the supreme international crime of aggression.
What?
Against this, to have had the right whatsoever, that Iran had the right and continues to have the right of self-defense against the supreme international crime of aggression. Now, it is true that the whole international system, as has been commented on in the last few months, in particular by the Prime Minister of Canada, but by many others, the whole international system.
Did he say Prime Minister of Canada? Who the hell listens to the Prime Minister of Canada, bro?
System of law by many, in particular by the Prime Minister of Canada, but by many others.
Who the hell listens to the Prime Minister of Canada? Who? I don't. Oh my God.
The whole international system of law has collapsed. The supreme international body for war and peace is the UN Security Council. And the UN Security Council failed in its responsibility to stop the war of aggression. That being the case, we have reverted from the state of law to the law of the jungle, or what's sometimes called the law, the state of nature. Now, under these circumstances, under these circumstances, where the state of law is gone, the Security Council failed in its responsibility in a case of blatant, brazen, flagrant aggression against a member state of the United Nations.
If you're tired watching this, we're on the same boat. Trust me, I'm tired listening to Norman Finkelstein. He speaks so slowly. I'm dying.
Then, if you look at the English philosopher John Locke, he says, Israel, the United States, they have turned into wild, savage beasts, guilty of the crime of crimes and the supreme international crime. They have become dangerous to mankind. And under those circumstances, says Locke, every man may restrain or, where it is necessary, destroy things noxious to them. And that's what these two states have become. They have become noxious.
Look at Jonathan's face. He's like, what are you talking about? Piers looks like he's ready to go to bed, right? Just let him shut off the program, sit on the couch, legs on the whatever you call it, popcorn, remote. He's ready to go to sleep.
To humanity. Destroying now Tehran. Destroying Beirut. Two Arab, in the case of Tehran, Muslim, a Muslim and an Arab capital being destroyed.
Okay. Most Iranians don't consider themselves Muslims, by the way, just so you know.
But let me just...
It's not a war.
But Norman Finkelstein, let me just jump in and ask you one question on that before I go back to Jonathan, which is, would you categorize the Iranian regime since 1979 as a noxious entity? Because to many people's eyes, whatever their view of the war, the general point of agreement is that this has been a pretty vile, repressive regime, which certainly lives up to the title of noxious. Would you be happy to say that it's been a noxious regime?
I would say two things, and I'll say them in reverse order.
Come on, bro, just say them. You don't have to tell us what order, just say it.
The Iranian regime has been guilty of actions within its sovereign state that cannot be justified and which properly should be classified as crimes, human rights, egregious human rights violations. About that, I have no doubt. However, number two, I want to establish priority. Priorities number one, the first point, egregious human rights violations. Number two, I don't believe the Iranian regime was ever given a chance to see how.
Given a chance?
They were never given a chance, right? We should have just waited until they've obtained nuclear weapons and kaboom inside Israel, right? Kaboom inside America. We should have just given them a chance.
It would unfold between the crippling sanctions.
This guy, bro, he's losing his shit right now. But his response is funny. Let's go.
That were imposed on.
This guy's M. Pritchett says, what was the question again? Exactly, bro, exactly. That's the problem with Finkelstein. You forget about what the hell's going on. You're like, what the hell was I doing just right now? Dude, they asked him, they said, well, because he said that it's a noxious thing, whatever. I don't even remember what he said now. The other guy. The question was, isn't Islamic Republic, isn't the Islamic Republic noxious as well? That's why Piers Morgan was pushing back. And now he's saying, well, they were never given a chance and all this kind of nonsense.
The Iranian government, and then the huge amounts of money it had to subtract from civilian investment in order to counter, from its inception, the military threat posed by Israel and the United States.
Okay, let me...
meant that huge amounts of resources that might have gone to a better end were squandered because of the brutal sanctions and the threats of war.
Okay. Jonathan, just respond quickly to that point.
Listen.
To the 2 points there which Norman Finkelstein said. Then I want to just talk to you about Joe Kent after that. So just respond to him on that.
Yeah, when I came on the show, I didn't know I was coming in for a lengthy, long-winded, long-syllable word academic lecture, but
long syllable worded academic lecture. Exactly. I like how he said it. That's what Finkelstein does.
I will be brief, and I will say that I think it's absolutely ridiculous. If we scale back to 1979, the Islamic Republic of Iran is the aggressor. Islamic Republic of Iran has been building ballistic missiles, has been arming terror organizations, has been calling and acting to try to destroy the state of Israel.
Yep.
They have said so. Numerous presidents, the current not so much, but former Supreme Leader Khamenei and the previous one, the first one, have said so explicitly that it is their wish, their desire, their plan, their divine commitment to destroy what they call the Zionist entity. And I think what Israel is guilty of isn't now taking action against the Iranian regime. It isn't launching a strike on the Iranian regime's ability to fire ballistic missiles at Israel or at 10 or 11 other countries in the Middle East. It is that it took us so long and that we didn't do it earlier. And we could have saved thousands of Israelis, thousands of civilians that were murdered by Palestinians, by Syrians, by Lebanese, by other Arabs who were funded and armed by this very evil empire of terrorism, which was the Iranian regime. And the only thing I regret is that, only now are we doing it. And I think we should have done it way sooner. Yeah. And as I said before, now I am optimistic that this will actually change and we'll find ourselves in a different trajectory. But from my perspective, I have zero doubt who the aggressor is. Iran is the aggressor. We never aggressed against Iran until we were fired upon, until our civilians were murdered by their proxies, until they fired ballistic missiles at us. It's a very clear situation, and trying to turn it on its head, I think it's quite ridiculous and really unfounded.
Wow, this was tiring to watch. And
bro, that was nuts. Oh man, that was insane. All right, so we got some losers in the chat, as usual. Their name starts with Abdul or Muhammad or whatever. What is this? Take the hat off. Take the shitty hat off, you traitor. What are you talking about, bro? You guys are a bunch of losers, bro. And your head show, I love it. Guys, thank you for subscribing. We're going to have more fun. This was, what is it? It's 11:15 in Southern California. I know it's late everywhere else you guys are at. I'm going to call it a night. We'll be back on tomorrow. Have a little fun again tomorrow. Probably in the morning and then again at night. I might do 2 streams tomorrow. But this was fun. Did you guys like this normal Finkelstein? I had to do this one because you just got to hear all of these crazy psychos all over the place. The crime of crimes, supreme crime of crime. What, bro? Please. He says Iran, we didn't give Iran a chance. They were going to be good tomorrow. Tomorrow they were going to be good. Tomorrow they were going to turn it around. We didn't give them a chance, guys. Wow. If only we had listened to Norman Finkelstein, then we would have given Iran a chance and they would have shown us how amazing they really are. Wow, how dumb. How we were so stupid. God, if only we just would have consulted with Norman Finkelstein. Anyways, guys, I love you guys. Thank you for being part of the live stream. My favorite part is the chat, and that's you guys. I had a good time. I hope you did too. We'll do a little more. And this guy says, this dude is AI. He's not even real. Exactly, bro. I'm AI, bro. I'm AI, bro. I'm AI. I love it when we get the Abduls and stuff in the chats and the guys from Pakistan and stuff. That's when you know things are getting thick. It's getting thick, bro. It's getting thick. All right, time to go to bed. And actually, I'm gonna read a little Thomas Sowell, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Love you guys. Thank you. Have a good night. See ya. Bye.